March.
Okay, that's it. We're going to come right back. Jakari Jackson is going to be joining us. Stay with us.
GCN Radio Network.
Freedom and liberty lovers, listen up. The Republic of Liberland is looking for citizens to inhabit what used to be a 3-mile patch of no man's land between Serbia and Croatia. With the motto, live and let live, Liberland's creator, Vit Jetlinka, wants to create a European tax haven where honest people could prosper with minimal to no interference from a centralized government. So far, he has received 250,000 prospective citizen applications, as well as financial pledges to set up a state and telecom infrastructure. Sputnik reports that requirements for a prospective Liberland citizen must have respect for other people and respect the opinions of others, regardless of race, ethnicity, orientation, or religion. Have respect for private ownership, which is untouchable. Do not have communist, Nazi, or any other extremist past, and were not punished for a past criminal offense. But don't pack your bags just yet. Croatia has reported that it will not recognize the micronation. That's right. We can't let people run their own lives with minimal government harassment. That would prove we no longer need a massive central government, and the control freak warmongers can't have that. Go back to work. We still have a few more days till Tax Freedom Day. Rob Dew for Infowars.com.
I want more candy. I want more video games. Line.
And it's that type of behavior that spurred me to do the research to develop a true nutraceutical formula that was designed to smooth out and help children focus. All of our children are hit with modern mind control. Television, music, fast food, GMOs, sugars, you name it. Young humans have not yet developed their nervous system and are being hammered daily by globalist concoctions. It's no wonder they can't focus and calm down and then are put on dangerous psychotropic drugs. Working with my team, we set out to find the best formula with the highest quality ingredients that children would actually like and take. We worked with the leading manufacturer in nutritional supplements that are safe for children to bring you the most affordable and powerful calming formula out there. Introducing Child Ease with herbs and calming extracts like chamomile and lemon balm and essential nutrients that taste great. Obtain your Child Ease today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's Child Ease exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our Immune Support Infusion Blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center in the heart of the resistance. It's Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host today. Joining me in the studio now is Jakari Jackson. And I want to get his feedback, especially on this Magic School Bus propaganda, because you're just the right...
I was a child. I grew up with the Magic School Bus. I very much enjoyed it. Miss Frizzle and the rest of the crew. And just to see that piece, College Humor, I like some of the stuff they put out, but they also put out, these kind of propaganda pieces. And I didn't get to see the full video, but the clip I saw, I severely doubt they're going to talk about when the vaccines killed the kids in Syria. The World Health Organization going out there and giving the kids the bad vaccines. I seriously doubt that's going to make it in there. I doubt they're going to talk about Ronald Reagan passing the law saying that you can't sue the vaccine manufacturers. I doubt it's going to be in there. I mean, they could surprise me, but I don't think so.
And they're not going to talk about the cases where you've got 99.5% of the people vaccinated, yet they still get the disease. We've had a lot of different cases that show that this herd mentality, I keep calling it the herd mentality, herd immunity does not work. If it doesn't work for the individual, it's not going to work for the herd, okay? And that's what the people need to understand. It comes down to the effectiveness of it, but it also comes down to the fact that they're giving them legal immunity. You should be very concerned about anything that major corporations are pushing to force you to take, and that they have absolutely no liability for. That's
exactly.
That's a pattern that we're seeing.
Would
now.
you know, because you always hear the stories about, somebody goes to a restaurant and a whole bunch of people get sick. Then they go investigate it and they go have sanctions against the restaurant or whatever. But when it comes to your vaccines, that doesn't exist.
That's right.
And the thing about it is, like, if you're eating something, you can stop eating it. If the vaccine's in your body, it's in there.
Yeah.
And it's going to do whatever it's going to do.
That's right. They don't want to inform you what the risks are because it's like this abortion ad where they say, yeah, it's abortion. Yeah, we do that. And the other thing that they do is they increasingly, as I pointed out yesterday, all of this Trans-Pacific partnership and transatlantic partnership, these so-called trade agreements, they're all about holding a gun to your head and forcing you to do things that you don't want. Holding a gun to the head of countries that have outlawed genetically modified organisms because they have concerns about them. They want to see what the long-term effects are, or they've already seen effects that they don't want to allow into their country. So this is about holding a gun to the heads of those people and saying, no, you're going to buy the product from this corporation whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that's what we see because people always talk about, I want freedom to do this, I want freedom to do that, but then they're being forced to do stuff by the government and they don't really have a big issue about that.
Yes, yes. And I would also point out that this article that just came out, this is pretty amazing. Someone sent this to me. Cuba to export cancer vaccines to the U.S. And the New York governor confirms this. They say they're going to import a therapeutic vaccine against lung cancer that's been developed in Cuba. It is going to go to the Roswell Park Cancer Institute of New York. She says, signing this agreement means we can immerse ourselves in clinical trials when we return to New York. So everything is a vaccine. And again, that comes back to the vaccine court. If they were to give you a pill and it was to do harm, then they would have legal exposure. If they were to give you an antibiotic, the same thing. Any other kind of medication or surgery, they would have some legal exposure. But if it's a vaccine,
it's like it's the sacred cow.
Yes.
It's the thing that you cannot touch because you see these guys, the late night guys, they like to make fun of the vaccine parents and all this stuff. But even though, and it's always the argument, if vaccines are harmful in any way, why aren't people on TV talking about it? Well, besides the fact your big major networks have pharmaceutical ads at every single commercial break,
yes.
You do see people. Piers Morgan got sick from a vaccine. The young lady on Katie Couric, she got sick from the vaccine. And, while the girl's sitting there, having all these health defects, there's the doctor sitting right next to her. Well, these effects are very rare, and they're usually pretty moderate. The girl's about to fall over and die right next to her.
Yeah.
But they're trying to tell you that it rarely happens.
Well, I think it just doesn't pass a sniff test. When you look at the legal immunity, it's very much like these trade agreements, just like Elizabeth Warren was saying, why won't they tell you what's in it? Why won't they tell you what's in the trade agreement? Why won't they let you have labels that show if it's got genetically modified organisms?
And then the whole argument, David, saying that if we label these things, it's going to cost these companies all this money. It's going to raise your price of food. Every time they have a big football game, the big summer blockbuster is about to come out, they change the packaging on the food anyway. Just add, this contains GMO or whatever the label has to say.
That doesn't cost them anything to do that. It's a bogus argument, and we ought to all just stop when they're going to take away our informed consent, when they're going to take away our right to come after them and get compensation if it does harm for their product. When we see these negotiations being done in secret, all of that stuff should be a giant red flag, and we should just pull back and say, if that's the way it's going to go down, it isn't going to go down. We ought to just stop at that point. And, of course, we have talked over and over again about the various aspects and case histories of these vaccines, but it ought to stop at the surface level is really where it ought to stop. I've got some news, and we want to talk about this announcement that Obama had today. Before I go to that, Jakari, I want to let people know that we've got InfoWars Life Silver Bullet on sale at the InfoWarsLife.com store right now, 50% off. It's normally $29.95. Right now, you can save $15 per bottle. That's 30 parts per million colloidal silver, preparedness grade of silver. It is frequently out of stock. Right now, we've got it in stock, and we've got it on the biggest sale we've ever had, 50% off, a $15 per bottle savings. InfoWars Life Silver Bullet at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, the other thing I want to mention before we go to the press conference, there's a couple of protests coming up, very important ones. We talked earlier about the gold mine out in Oregon. Now, the BLM was moving against some miners who'd had a mine there since the 1870s. And the BLM was talking like they were going to take it by force this coming Saturday, just 2 days away. We had Oath Keepers go out there and set up a security perimeter to protect the people there from any kind of precipitative movement by the BLM like that, because they wanted to go through the legal proceedings, get due process. They were not giving them their day in court. They said, we need to at least have a day in court because we have rights to this mine that we've kept a chain of title going back to the 1870s. So they've got protests that are scheduled today. I just want to let people who are in the area know about that. That's going to be at 2 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be noon Pacific Time for the people who are out there. They're going to have a rally at the BLM offices. And after that information came out, the BLM said, well, we're going to close our offices. So it looks like the BLM is backing down. They're going, they're not in aggressive mode right now. They're not even going to have those offices open because of the protests. But it was an interesting press release from them. They said that, and they called on people, they said, they're calling on all miners, loggers, farmers, ranchers, and freedom lovers everywhere. It said, if you can't get to the BLM out there in Oregon, go to your local BLM office and protest what they're doing. Tell the people, tell them that the people of this country are sick and tired of the way they've been conducting themselves. So today at noon Central, and I'm sorry, noon Pacific Time, that'd be about 2 o'clock Central at the end of this show. Also, there was a lot of pushback against Jade Helm here locally. Yes. Bastrop is the city that is just southeast of Austin, and that was the first one listed on the Jade Helm cities. There's been a lot of concern there, and I think this actually made the Drudge Report, the fact that they're going to have another county commissioner meeting, and that's going to be this Monday, April 27th, for people to show up and express their concern about the military exercises that are being held there. They say they will again present information to the county commissioners because they did this secretly and in privately with nobody paying any attention to this a couple of months ago. That's what they did in all these locations. Now there's so many people in Bastrop that they're going to basically start their PSYOP operation a little bit before the exercise because they said this is a PSYOP operation.
They need a running start. Yeah. And people who will, criticize us even questioning Jade Helm, it's not so much Jade Helm, it's the larger picture because you think about, I know you did a report about this, David, how they're running drills in Miami, Florida. Yeah. What cave in Afghanistan looks like downtown Miami, Florida? Doing drills in Minneapolis, doing drills in San Diego. Yeah. What desert in Iraq looks like San Diego, California? You know, so it's just basic stuff. What are these guys training for? And when you ask this question, or you're a conspiracy theorist, it's this, I just really want to know. You wouldn't put on football cleats and go run on a hardwood basketball court. You train where you're going to deploy.
And they said that in L.A. When they were doing these drills in L.A., they got on the local news and they were talking to the guy and he says, well, you train where you're going to fight. If you're going to fight the mountains or the desert, that's where you train. We're training to fight here. And they were working in conjunction with the police. And so when we look at this drill right here, this is an article. We're going to talk to Paul Joseph Watson about this. These are some Marines now training in riot control. Why would you have Marines training in riot control? This is very disturbing, but it's all part of a pattern that we've seen going back. You talked about that report we did. That was back in 2013. And, of course, last year, Joe Biggs and I went to one of the places where they were training for this. In AP Hill, there's a separate base inside of AP Hill that was fenced off. We walked through that. And here's the thing, Jakari. If they want to train for urban warfare, they've been doing that in the past. They have these burned out, bombed out building shells that they can go around and they can practice going building to building. But when you go to the Asymmetric Warfare Center in AP Hill, this is a completely intact city.
Yes.
Okay, completely intact.
At a subway.
The traffic lights were working. Yeah, they had the subway. They had all the different transportation modes there. And, of course, in Camp Lejeune, they have, that's where the Marine base is, they have another city that they train with there. That's why it's not a surprise for me to see that the Marines are working on crowd control and riot gear there because the one that they have at Camp Lejeune is a more rural setting. There it's more suburban stuff. It's also farm areas, but it's very much American. Mm-hmm. When we were at AP Hill at the Asymmetric Warfare Center, we stood at the corner of 1st and Main. We saw traffic lights that were operational. They are training to go through a city that hasn't been attacked, isn't part of a war zone. And I very much object to this. But this is what the Jade Helm exercise is. It's moving this out to the next level. We're seeing this happening everywhere. Part of this is a PSYOP operation. The entire thing is at the very least a PSYOP operation to get troops used to operating in America on the streets and to get the people of America used to seeing them on the streets, just as if we were living in a banana republic with nuclear weapons, which we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we are.
Exactly.
Let's talk about this announcement that Obama had today, saying that they very much regret, and there's absolutely, the press secretary Josh Earnest said there's There's no amount of regret that I can express that would be sufficient to cover these American